Hello and welcome to the What Women Want Today podcast. I'm your host, Terry Kellums.
And I am your co-host, Elizabeth Correa.
Elizabeth, how are you today?
I am good. I am good. I'm excited. I had some great things happening today. I'm excited for this session.
Awesome. I want to hear all about it.
Yes. Yes.
So I had some news today as well. I haven't quite decided if I think it's good news or bad news, but
Mm-mm.
I was noticing, I don't know, a couple of months ago that when I would bend down, my knees would like pop and make this noise. And then I started having these periodic times where I would just be walking or doing something somewhat normal and my knee would get this shooting pain through it.
Mm.
Well, I don't know. In the United States, some of the companies offer really crappy health insurance, and my husband's company just happens to be one of those. And
Oh,
so I kept saying to myself, I'll just wait till the new year. That way, if I need surgery, I can apply all this money towards my deductible. So I went to the doctor today, and he said, "Do you want the good news or the bad news?"
oh dear. I don't
Yeah.
like that.
He's like, the good news is you don't need surgery. So I thought, well, that's
Okay.
pretty good news.
Mm-hmm.
But the bad news is you have arthritis in your knee. So
Oh,
it means it probably will only continue to get worse. He said, bless you. He said,
thank
these
you.
these are not the same knees you had when you were 23 years old.
Oh, oh, okay. So have you ever heard, you know what acupuncture is, obviously?
Yes.
Okay. So my sister got kind of the same good news, bad news kind of thing. She
Mm-hmm.
thought she was going to need surgery for something. She lashes. She has a lash boutique, so she does lashing full time,
Mm-hmm.
literally 9 to 5 every day, and her hands were starting to
Oh,
really hurt her. And I was like, it might be arthritis. I don't know. So she's like, okay, before I go to the doctor, let me do some. And it was, we do know that it was early signs of arthritis.
mm-hmm.
She did a couple, I believe it was two, three max
Wow.
of sessions, acupuncture sections,
Mm-hmm.
sessions on her hands. It's gone.
Oh,
She literally doesn't have these pains anymore. I know
wow.
other ladies who did it for their back. I can't remember if it was feet, like ankles. I
Mm-hmm.
did it for my upper neck. I did about
Mm-hmm.
maybe 6 or 7 sessions for my upper neck. I mean, still, I'm going to be sore because I'm on the computer all day, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing in comparison to what it used to be.
Yeah.
So definitely look into acupuncture.
I will. I totally believe in doing things that are, not the traditional quote unquote kind of medicine. I'm not a pill taker,
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't enjoy taking medications. I'm always trying to look for the more natural approach to,
Yeah.
healing the body. And so yeah, I will definitely look into that. So one of the things I was worried about is I've always been, well, I shouldn't say always, I would say midlife and on, mid 30s and on maybe. I've always either hiked or walked avidly or
Mm,
exercised in some way. And I was afraid that he was going to tell me to not do that because it was going to
not.
continue to, aggravate the knee. But he did not
Yeah.
say that. He
Oh,
said,
good.
yeah, he said, you're just going to have to learn the things that don't feel so great and just don't do those.
And don't do those. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I guess I'll take it. I guess I'll decide that that's good news because I really did not want to have surgery. I did not.
Yeah, I know. And that would have been worse, I think.
Yeah, because
Right.
we
So,
have a couple that we're friends with. They were just here visiting for New Year's, and she's had to have hip surgery twice in like 9 months
which
or
is a
something.
bad one. Yeah.
And, so you hear people tell these stories like, oh, I had shoulder surgery and my shoulder still is not
Mm,
as good as it was before. Or, I've had hip
yeah.
surgery twice. And
And nothing really, got better. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll just be careful, but I'm glad that now because I was skipping legs day at the gym, and so I was only going like every other day to do upper body. And yeah, I'm excited to get back into, doing some more of the things I was doing before.
Now that you know.
I'll just have
Yeah.
to be more careful. So no more
Yes.
no more boogieing on Saturday nights in my dance shoes,
Yeah.
maybe.
Midlife crisis.
I'll just say it's a midlife blip,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I like that better.
it is a great segue into the conversation about midlife and
Yes.
what has surprised you the most about midlife.
Oh, geez. Okay. So there's a few things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the top one would be how fast or quickly I can gain a few pounds
Oh, girl, yeah.
literally within a day, 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
And that never used to happen before. Like I mean, mind you, I'm actually 10 pounds lighter now than I was in my 30s. And that's because I did, I have to now. I
Hmm.
I work out all the time and I have to, because if I don't, I pack on the pounds fast. Like it's in our genes. We have many family members who are obese, who are heavy,
Mm,
and so I just have to be so careful now. I used to love eating bread. I mean, I'm Portuguese, it's in my DNA.
I
It's,
love bread.
and I can't, I look at it, I gain a pound. I eat it, I gain 3.
Oh
So
my
it's like, and
gosh.
then I got to
Yeah.
work out harder the next day. So that I think that started for me, like I'd say maybe like 5 years ago, where I had to be super, super careful, because I just even having a couple glasses of wine, I'm not kidding, Terry, I feel heavier the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I married my husband Brian in 2016 and I was a size 2.
Oh,
And yeah, and I
tiny,
was too thin. I was too
tiny
thin.
lady.
But I started, I had done the divorce diet before I met him. So I had like
Mhm.
lost a ton of weight when I went through my divorce. And then after it started coming off, I was like, then I was more intentional about it. And you just kind of get carried away sometimes. So I
Yeah.
had gotten a little too thin, and people were telling me I was too thin, and you don't want to believe something. There such a thing as too thin.
Yeah.
There
Hmm.
is, but
There is.
I didn't want to hear it. And so after we got married and I was looking at some of the photos, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm too thin. Like it's true. Like my face looked too gaunt and it
Mm.
didn't look good. So I purposely let myself, put on a few pounds and I felt great. And then the year I turned 50, which was 2019, my husband and I had moved to a new part of Arizona, and I had gotten out of my routines of I had like some great walking partners and paths and different things I was doing, and
Oh.
started to get out of that habit a little bit, trying to get settled into this new place that we moved to. Well, one weekend we went to a lake just for a long weekend, and I came home and weighed myself that next Monday. I had gained 7 pounds, literally in like 4 days,
In a weekend.
in a weekend, in a long weekend.
Wow. I hear
And
about that at all inclusive resorts for like 7, 10 days, but a weekend. Wow.
yeah. And then I was kind of like, well, maybe I just got off track a little bit. Let me get back going here and started
Yeah.
started buttoning up my app my diet again and getting more active, but it didn't go away. It was like no matter what I was doing, it wasn't going away.
Oh.
And I would say so I like really kind of sneaked into menopause. So March of 2019, I didn't know it at the time, but that was the last time I had a cycle. And then I
Mm.
turned 50 in September. By the time my year came around I knew I was officially in menopause, I'd gained a total of 13 pounds in one year.
Oh.
In 1 year.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing is, when you hit that menopause, like I don't have any symptoms. Like, what you were saying, we were, kind of talking off air a little, a,
Hmm.
a little, and but I your cycle stopped just a few years ago. Mine stopped last year and I'm 40, I'll be 48. Mine stopped.
Are you on 12 months then? 12 months, no period?
It's going to be. So I have to go back to the doctor soon because he's like, don't worry about it. Come back when it's been a year. And
Yeah,
I'm
because
like,
a
this
lot of
is
women
pretty
will go like
early.
they'll go like 10 months and then they'll have one again, or
Oh,
11 months. And
really?
then it starts the clock all over again. You have to be
Okay, I didn't
12
know that.
months without a cycle before you're considered menopause.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm like, it's gonna be almost 12 months,
Yeah, you'll be pretty young
right?
if you really go through with that. Yeah. That's pretty young. I thought I was young. I thought 50 was pretty because I know a
Wow.
lot of women who say they didn't go through it until like mid 50s or even later.
Right.
And someone told me once it has something to do with the age you are when you have your last child, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh, okay. Early 30s for me.
You were early
But
30s. I was 30.
yeah.
when
Yeah,
I had my last child.
it's a bit like, I'm like, should I be concerned? Like that was pretty early. Like when it stopped for me, pretty much it's been almost a year. Well, I'd say about 10 months, 9 months.
I'm curious that how old were you when you started getting your cycle? Do you remember?
Yes, I was about 12.
So I wonder if that has something to do with it too, because I was 14.
Okay.
So
Okay. Could
who
be. Yeah.
knows? Who
Interesting
knows?
topic. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I would agree with you 100%. Weight gain, having little control over it, feeling like the things that you used to do to drop that couple pounds you put on while you were on vacation just doesn't seem to work as well anymore.
No.
We'll have to have
No.
we'll have to have some guests on the podcast that can kind of address some of these things. That would be
Yes.
interesting.
Yes. Yes.
I think
Yeah, that would
I,
be.
I think for me, like one of the things that caught me off guard and probably still I'm in denial about is not being able to see. Like I had a sliver in my finger, and I was like, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see me moving my hand away from my
Oh,
face, but
yes.
like trying to figure out how can I see this little sliver in my finger, and I couldn't see it. And to this day, like I still like have reading glasses all over the place, and I'll still pick up like a box or a can of something in the kitchen and try to figure out what that says, what that little fine print is. But yeah, the eyesight thing.
That is funny because it actually just started for me.
Oh, it did.
So it did. Yes. My mom was like waiting. She couldn't wait for me to say, it happened. It happened, Ma. It happened. So I started wearing reading glasses and it was overnight. Terry,
Yeah.
it happened overnight. It was like, I'm reading one night in bed and I've got the book as I normally do. And I'm like, hold on a second. No way. So yeah, it happened. I would say about 8 months ago. About 8 months ago, I went and got checked out and got test, all the tests they did, and they're like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is, so um, long distance vision, literally almost perfect.
Wow.
But the reading, yeah, it just started for me. And I have friends who they probably started wearing their glasses, reading glasses in their early 40s.
Yeah, I think that's
So
more common.
yeah,
So you're
oh
so you're
really?
lucky. Yeah, I think you're lucky. Like
Yeah.
you escaped it for
Okay.
a few years.
Well, okay, stopped my menstrual pretty early, but got
Yeah,
to wear glasses later.
can't pick and choose. You can't
Exactly.
pick and
Yes.
choose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, so what else? What else took you by surprise? Or maybe there's something positive that's happened. Let's go there. Let's talk about something
Oh,
positive.
yeah, something positive. Okay, yeah, because you're right. There are the not so positive, and then there's the good things. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm going to say my level of confidence in
Mm,
knowing who I am, knowing what I don't want, even more so than knowing what I want, knowing
mm-hmm.
what I don't want, setting boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
saying no when I want to say no, say yes when I want to say yes.
Absolutely.
I found that I'm also, you know, a lot pickier, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
not settling, even if it's a business opportunity or a friendship or dating or something. It's just knowing what I don't want has really, like, I wish I had this confidence and knowing this in, like, my 30s.
Yeah. Oh, I
But
agree. 100%.
yeah, like,
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say, like, finally finding your voice, like,
yes.
just feeling so confident in what you know and
Yes.
being able to articulate it. And yeah, the confidence is crazy because I have been a people pleaser the majority of my life. And at some point of a switch flipped, and all of a sudden I was like, you know what? No, I don't like that. I'm like much more particular about things at this point of life than I've ever been before. I like
Oh,
things done a certain way, and I own that. I absolutely own that. I
yeah,
know I'm
yeah.
picky about it, and I'm good with it.
Okay. It's yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like I get teased a lot about this, but I really don't care. Like, I am a coffee snob, and
Oh,
I
my sister's a coffee
own
snob.
that.
Yeah,
100% own that.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it could be anything. It could be, like I know that I like to exercise at 10 a.m. every morning and I don't compromise on that. Like
Right.
you just get to a point where you're like, I'm not willing to compromise so much on these
Non-negotiable.
things anymore, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that is such a powerful thing that I've really come into in my
Mm-hmm.
40s 100%, and
Yeah,
it's an amazing feeling,
it is.
and not being afraid to upset or
Mm-hmm.
offend someone. I mean, as long as your delivery is respectful,
Mm-hmm.
you're not belittling, degrading people, you
Yeah,
are this is really this is how it is for me.
yeah,
And if that doesn't work for you, that's fine, and that's okay.
yeah. I mean,
Right?
100%, if you decide to set boundaries, you're going to upset somebody.
Yes,
Like,
you are.
you're going to upset somebody because
Especially people who aren't used to you having any boundaries.
absolutely, absolutely. I know
Right?
there's a person in my life I'm close to and I love very much. And she said to me after my divorce, from my youngest daughter's dad, she had said to me, "You've changed." And I thought, well, thank God, because for years I spent all my time trying to figure out who to be, the person to be, to
Mm,
please somebody else. Okay, this person wants me to be this, and this job needs me to be this. Like, finally, I got to the point where I was like, okay, but that's really not me. None of those things are really me. It's just me pretending to be.
yeah.
So yeah, I love that about this part of life where you know who you are and you're okay with it, even your flaws. Like, you're even okay with your
Unapologetically.
flaws. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that too, the flaws too.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful to be able to identify what they are, know what they are, and say, you know what, I'm working on those things, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'm
And
a
it
work
is
in
what it
progress.
is.
I'm
I'm
totally
a
fine
work.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish not wish, but I could have definitely benefited from that level of self-worth and confidence in my,
Absolutely.
well, definitely in my 20s, but
Oh
for
yeah.
sure in my 30s. Yeah.
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 And I coach midlife women who feel unfulfilled because they spent their entire lives, pleasing other people,
Yes.
nurturing other people, you know, putting themselves into their career, applying all their, energies to
Mm,
their husband, their family, their home. And then they get to midlife and the empty nest kicks in and they're all of a sudden they're like, well, who am I? What are
yeah.
my interests? What are my passions?
Yes.
What does this part of my life, what is this supposed to look like? What do I want it to look like?
Mm,
And those are some hard questions to answer sometimes.
yeah. Yeah, they are. And this is, I think it's so important for, our listeners listening. If you are, your early 40s, mid 40s, midlife, to really, figure out what it is that lights you up.
Yeah,
What lights you up? What are some of those passions that you've abandoned? What are those things
absolutely.
that you liked in your 20s, in your teens? Or it could have been just 5 years ago, it could have been
Hmm.
10 years ago.
Yeah,
And really just find the time to tap back into those things, because what happens is they do leave and you become an empty nester. And
yeah,
then it's even harder to restart once they're gone, because you're literally like, you don't know where to start. It just feels so much harder. And then what happens, you get comfortable in your not so comfortable
hmm,
box.
yeah,
And so yeah.
yeah. And then if you're one of the women who has reached midlife and maybe perimenopause and you're starting to withdraw. My mom withdrew. She
Oh.
was anxious and depressed, and it was just easier to be
Oh.
alone. And
Yeah.
I was in a menopause support group for a while on Facebook, and I would hear these women say, you know, it's just easier to be alone. I'm more irritable than I used to
That
be.
sounds like my mom.
Yeah. Or, even withdrawing from your husband because sex isn't as enjoyable because you're having some vaginal dryness, which is very
Yeah.
common in midlife.
Yes, I've
And
heard.
they're just starting to like go inside themselves and they're not
Mm.
leading this very fulfilling, rich life, which I think we all
Oh,
can lead.
yes. Yeah. Whether you're 45 or 65, 75, and I think it's like you said, it's, that withdrawing. Oh, that I'm watching my mom. My mom's been going through that for years. I think
Hmm.
she said she's still going through menopause, and it's not a nice place,
No,
to watch someone go through, and to also to experience. So really catching it, recognizing it, reach out, find a community of women. There are
absolutely.
groups of women out here that are literally waiting to love
Yes.
on you, to empower you, inspire you, to give you, kind of bring some of those passions and ideas back to life,
Absolutely.
and just, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was talking to a former neighbor of mine, and she's a little older, and I love talking to older people. They have so much
Me
wisdom,
too.
and I was talking about the podcast a little bit and saying, that I geared it towards midlife women because for a while, I won't say that's as true today as it was when I first started it, but I felt like for a while, like it was so taboo to talk about the things that midlife women are going through. I feel
Mm,
like, here we are, like almost 3 years into this, and it's not as taboo as it used to be.
yeah.
But there still needs to be a safe place for women to come and share their
Absolutely.
concerns. And you don't have to go through this alone. I feel like my mom did that. I watched her suffer, and I didn't really understand because she didn't talk about
Yeah.
it. So, we have the Facebook group, we have the private community. If it's something
Yeah.
you wanted to share privately, we have that group, no men allowed in there. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's build a community here where we can support each other as we're going through some of these changes in midlife. Even the good ones. We
Absolutely.
can share the good ones
Yes.
too.
Oh, no, absolutely. I think we should even do, uh, a session on rediscovering your passions and how to
Absolutely.
live a more fulfilled, passion-driven, passion-filled life. And, if you're listening and there are some topics that you would love us to cover, hey, leave a comment. We
Yeah,
will be posting the videos to these podcast sessions as well on YouTube.
absolutely.
Leave a comment in the comment box below. Let us know, or drop us a message in the group as well.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we'd love to hear from you. Love to
Yes.
discover these topics and find some great guests to bring on or just have conversations amongst
Mm,
ourselves. I think it's great.
yes. Yeah.
So last week we hinted a little bit about a book challenge. So should we talk about that
Yes.
today?
Oh, let's do it.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah. I'm excited about this.
How's this going to go? How's this going to work?
So I was thinking we could do a 3-month book writing challenge.
Ooh.
Now, if you've ever thought of writing a book, now it doesn't have to be a memoir. It could be, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, it could be a children's series,
Mm,
or it could simply be something you do for your own healing.
absolutely. It's very
Writing,
therapeutic.
oh, it's
Hmm.
so therapeutic. And it could just be something you leave behind for your children.
Like a
It could be
legacy. Love
like a
it.
legacy, right?
Hmm.
So we are going to write every day for 3 months, and we're going to apply the writer's rule. So I took a writing course at a college, local college here, and my professor shared the writer's rule with us. And I was like, that's so cool. So it's basically where the rule is you have to write for 20 minutes a day.
Okay. 7 days a
So
week?
7, you could do 5 if you want,
Okay.
you could take weekends off. It's up to you. So you basically time yourself for 20 minutes. Now, if the 20 minutes are up and you are in the flow, you don't want to stop writing and you have the extra time, then keep writing. If you don't have the extra time and you've time blocked that 20 minutes into your time, they say early mornings are the best to write, or late
Hmm.
at night.
Hmm.
So if you have other things to do, the rule is you have to write for 20 minutes,
I love it. I love it. This is
20 minutes a day.
exciting. It's
And I
exciting.
promise you, you will be so impressed and shocked with how fast you're going to get through those chapters.
Yeah. All right. So today's February 1st. So
Yes.
when should we start this?
I say we do this as an act of love, self love, that we
Hmm,
gift this to ourselves for
love it.
Valentine's.
That is such a great idea. I love that idea. I
Yes.
love that. Show yourself some love starting February 14th, 3-month writing challenge, 20 minutes a day.
Yes.
It's going to feel good. It's going to feel
Oh,
so good.
it's going to be so good. And we will be sending out periodically, we're not going to flood your inbox, but we do have an email subscription. So if you click the link below and enter your email, we will be sending out emails, whether it's about a new podcast or a new interview, someone we're interviewing, interviewing, and think, hey, maybe you'll love to hear this person. This is the
Yeah.
topic. This is what we're sharing. But we will also share some tips for those of you who have joined the Writers Challenge,
Hmm.
whether it's tips, whether it could be, tips
Encouragement of
for
some sort. Yeah.
encouragement. if we could share blog posts, other videos, whatever we find that is working for us,
I love it.
we will make sure we send it out to you as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we are really building a community here. We've got we got the Facebook page, What Women Want Today. We've got the midlife, oh, what I forgot, midlife conversations.
Yeah. Is that
We'll
the
put
group?
we'll put the link in the show notes.
Yes.
We
Okay.
sign up for the email, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got a lot of information we want to share with you this season. We're both so excited that you guys joined us today.
Yes. Yes. And get ready for the challenge. Get
Get
ready.
ready.
Let us know if you'll be joining the challenge with us, whether you send us a message in the group or the comment box below if you're watching this on YouTube.
Even a private message on the What Women Want Today
Yes.
Facebook or Instagram. That's totally fine. But yeah, let's do this. I'm so excited about this, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for this idea. I am absolutely
Yes.
excited about this.
Yes,
All
me
right.
too.
Coming up on the podcast in the next couple of weeks, we have got some phenomenal guests lined up. We can't wait for you to join us for those guests. Please remember to share your favorite episodes with a friend on your social media and leave a review for the podcast. That helps other amazing women just like you find us.
Yes. Yes, it does.
All right, Elizabeth, I'll see you next week.
All right, Terry. Have a good one.
You too.